My name is Jeremiah Asher, and I'm the Assistant Director of the Institute of Water Research at Michigan State University. We know a lot of producers in the area are doing some innovative and conservation work on their farms, and we're excited to work with them to help share those activities. I'm joined today by Tess Van Gorder, Associate Policy and Regulatory Specialist from the Agricultural Ecology Department at Michigan Farm Bureau, and Connor Crank, the Project Coordinator for the Institute of Water Research. We also have producers Blaine Baker, Dan Ritter, and Steve Tate on the phone to share some of their experiences with farmer-led watershed groups in other parts of the state. This project's funded. Research is collaborating with a diverse set of partners, including MSU Department of Biosystems and Agricultural Engineering, Michigan State University Extension, the Nature Conservancy in Michigan, Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, Michigan Farm Bureau, Michigan Association of Conservation Districts, the River Raisin Watershed Council, and conservation districts in Gratiot, Genesee, Saginaw, and Shiawassee counties. Before we get started, if you have any comments or questions, please post them in the comment section, and we'll answer them at the end of the event, or a project member will respond directly to you. Thanks again, and with that, I'll pass it over to Connor Crank.
All right, thanks, Jeremiah. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. So we're working to create a network of farmers that will lead their own communities toward better nutrient management. The ultimate goal of these farmer-led groups is to reduce agricultural field runoff and to improve water quality in the Saginaw watershed. And that's through encouraging the adoption of nutrient management practices on roughly 20,000 acres of farmland in the Saginaw watershed over the next 3 years. There is also some cost share available for the implementation of those eligible conservation practices.
And in case you're not sure where exactly the Saginaw watershed covers, you'll see a map that shows our project area, and farmers within that green boundary you see there are eligible for the cost share portion of the project. And the watershed will have 3 different farmer-led groups, and you'll be able to attend whatever meetings and events are most convenient for you. And we are still looking for farmer leaders for these groups, and wanted to give you an overview of what being a farmer leader might look like. The time commitment would be roughly 25 to 30 hours and could be split among a few farmer group leaders, and it could vary by the type of events planned. So we're looking at 2 informal either shop talks or coffee talks per year, and potentially 2 to 5 larger events such as field days, educational webinars, things like that. And these can be done either as your individual groups, or if you want to collaborate with the other groups in the watershed to put on a larger event.
Thanks, Tess. Sorry, my screen froze up there for a second. So we are still trying to actively recruit farmers that would be interested in being farmer group leaders. As a farmer group leader, you would help plan the meetings and shop talks that Tess just went over. And those meeting topics would generally cover soil and water conservation. Farmer leaders would also be more than welcome to do things like lining up guest speakers for their meetings, or planning additional activities for the group, such as field walks or barbecues or do-it-yourself soil testing days, and so on and so forth. Other major roles of those farmer leaders would be including helping to recruit farmers to your group and working with the project team, including helping us to track the adoption of nutrient management practices within your group. The various organizations that Jeremiah mentioned earlier in his introduction to the project, they're all more than happy to help provide administrative assistance to your group as needed as we move along this process.
And even though we were talking about being a farmer leader for these groups, anyone can participate, even if you don't want to do so as a leader. This is an opportunity to help you inspire change by leading the charge to help improve water quality in the watershed, and also an opportunity to collaborate with your fellow farmers in your community to increase the adoption of nutrient management practices.
So if you would like to get involved in the Saginaw Watershed Farmer-Led Group, please contact us at waterqualityfarming@gmail.com and like and follow the Facebook page, which is called the Saginaw Watershed Farmer Group. And at this time, we're going to move on to the Q&A panel portion of the event with Blaine and Dan and Steve, who are joining us here from other farmer-led watershed groups in Michigan. But we will have plenty of time to answer any of your questions after the Q&A ends in a little bit here.
Awesome. Thanks, Connor. And a big thank you to both Blaine, Dan, and Steve for joining us this morning to share their experiences with leading other farmer-led watershed groups in the state. Blaine joins us from a farmer-led group out of the Western Lake Erie Basin, and Dan and Steve are joining us from the Thumb Area Farmer-Led Watershed Group. So with that, we're going to just jump right in to chatting with these guys today about their experiences. So I'll start off with Blaine. Can you tell us a little bit about you and your farm, and then some background about the farmer-led group that you work with?
Yeah, you got me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm out here putting on cover crops right now, so guy's supposed to be here to take over this thing real quick. Yeah, so our operation, my brother and I in partnership, we're farming about 2,300 acres, 100% no-till, 100% cover crop. And we got this, we fixed up a cover crop rig. What we're doing now is I'm out doing custom work on some other guys' here. We'll put on 5,000 acres of cover this year pretty much before we get done. Got a dairy herd also milking just over 500 head. So it keeps us out of mischief. Yeah, so our farmer-led group, I don't know, we've been at it for, I don't know, a few years here. At any rate, we're down here, River Rays and Watershed is where we're at, which is the western, we're in the Western Lake Erie. So that you're finding out up there in Saginaw, kind of what we found out a few years back, and there's a lot of pressure for things to happen, change, whatever you might want to say. My opinion, honestly, there's way too much money being poured into the Lake Erie, but so be it. I guess if it's there, you might as well take advantage of it. Our group, what we've got is the county is split into kind of 4 quadrants. So we have four farmers that are leading the thing, one in each quadrant, and I'm one of those guys doing that. But we try to hold an annual meeting, a major annual meeting every year. Matter of fact, I've been holding 2 of them. Get decent attendance, not the attendance we did when we originally started, I don't think, but we have pretty good attendance. This last one we did just it's been a month ago. We ended up doing that on Zoom, and I was pretty pleased with that. We had 30 people, 27 I think it was, which I thought for a Zoom thing was pretty good. Originally, the intent was to try to hold a meeting every year in each quadrant. Well, you know, after you do that a couple times, what are you gonna get as far as speakers? What are you gonna talk about? You kind of run out of topics, and you kind of have the same people showing up all the time. We spend a lot of time talking about how do we get other folks involved. That's a major challenge. it seems, and we end up talking about the, the big farmers. Well, what's a big farmer? We're milking 520. If you milk 525, you're a big farmer. If you farm 2,000 acres and, the neighbor's got 2,100, well, he's a big farmer. Everybody. But the guys down here that we talk about, the larger farmers, just don't seem to have any interest in things conservation-wise, which is okay. They're small farmers that aren't interested. But it's the big farmers have just that much more land that they control or rent, so it's a little larger impact on that. But
Awesome.
so all in all, that's kind of a quick wrap up of what we do.
Thanks for sharing, Blaine. Dan and Steve, we'll go to you now. Same question, if you can tell us a little bit more about your backgrounds and then some background information about the farmer-led groups you work with.
Dan, you can go ahead first.
Dan, you're muted.
Oh.
There you go.
So I guess Steve and I have been kind of doing the same thing in our area, conservation. I farm 920 acres now. So we've been at least doing minimum tillage for a lot of years. Steve's been no tilling for a lot longer than I have. But I've gone on the no-till path for 4 or 5 years now. And I like what I see. I use filter strips along my county drains. We got a lot of large dairies in our area, and we do accept manure from them. So, I use my filter strips as a buffer and a traffic area for running tankers across it. That can take a lot more abuse than what the field can do. So I'm not getting the compaction in those fields. But anyway, Steve and I kind of started this private farmer-led group just because we know no-till can work, and there's guys looking for some leadership in that area, some guidance. They like the idea of no-till or cover cropping, but Steve and I have had our share of I would say failures. I would say learning experiences. So we're going to share that with anybody that's interested in being conservation conscious. We would rather be proactive and doing a better job of maintaining our soils and keeping nutrients where they belong, and have government agencies tell us how we're going to farm. So, kind of a synopsis of what I think we're trying to accomplish here. Steve, you're next.
Okay. Yeah, my operation, we've been no-tilling probably up to 15 years, a lot of ground. Everybody hear me okay?
You can.
Okay, thank you. The reason Dan explained a lot of it, why we're both eager to help the group. Mainly in our area, we're a lot of sugar beet, dry bean, so there's been a lot of tillage done in the past. But also the support system for the farmers, agronomists, co-ops, what they work with, they would look to them for their leadership. Maybe they would talk to them about, hey, I'd like to try some no-till. I don't think they're getting very good leadership from local agronomists that way. They'd say, well, so-and-so tried this on his farm, looked like a failure. I don't know if I'd do that, and so we just decided that we needed to give a voice that, hey, it can work, and don't be discouraged by getting information. So I think that's a main reason why I think I kind of wanted to help out, is that to prove that it, you know, if you want to work towards conservation, it can be done. So, but we farm roughly 2,600 acres, and it's pretty much all no-till. We're still trying to figure out a little bit with our dry beans, working that into the system, but overall it's been well, worked well on our farm. So we just want to keep the information available and so on. So
Awesome.
Well, great.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thanks, Dan and Steve. Blaine, this next question is for you. Why did you decide to get a farmer-led watershed group started in your area?
Well, oh geez, got some dang thing popping up here. There we go. I'm back, I guess. Well, we got some grant money to do it, of course. So we started it. You know, it's a different approach to things that have conservation district, NRCS, those agencies. It's a different approach to try to do, you know, almost the same thing that they've been trying to do. Hopefully with farmers, speaking to farmers, maybe the individuals will pay a little more attention. I think that's kind of the bottom line on it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, thank you. Dan and Steve, same question over to you guys. Why did you guys decide to get a farmer-led watershed group started in your area?
Dan, are you going first, or you want me? Well, I think I explained last time, and just because Dan and I are both pretty much conservation minded, realizing soil health is very much related to it, and the increase in soil health goes a long way. So, like I said, there wasn't a lot of leadership. Our conservation office does a great job of getting programs for funding for cover crops and stuff, but there wasn't the leadership there to take it further. A lot of guys would take the money for get the cover crops on, but then they didn't know maybe handle the system, do a lot with the cover crop. I guess that's what we're just trying to take a role that we can help out. It will work. So, but there's got to be it's a system that's going to work for equipment.
I guess the other thing is it's tough to drive by fields that have wash that, you know, they got to take a backhoe or an excavator to it every few years to clean the sediment out of the bottom of the ditches. Or in the wintertime, you see snow blowing, and you've got what we call it, the drifts coming off fields. We call it snurk because it's got snow and dirt in it. So it's you know that topsoil is leaving the field. So it's you know, so
Awesome.
we're just trying to help guys transition or, you know, answer the questions.
Well, thank you, Dan and Steve, for sharing that. So Blaine, back to you. I know you talked a little bit about some of the things you do at your meetings, your sort of shop talks, as you will. Do you want to elaborate more on what you maybe used to do in the beginning, and then maybe for your annual meeting, what that might look like in a more normal year than this year?
Yeah, well, we had our annual all planned out. We Jim Horman was coming up, and generally our annual meeting we start at 9:30, something like that, and go till about 2. Have a noon meal of some sort. That's what it's been for the last 3 or 4 years until We're still at Jim. It was a Zoom session. Uh, the local, or did you just want to know about the annual? Do you want to know about locals or
Both would be
just the
great.
annual meeting? Okay, well, the local meetings, that's a smaller event, anywhere from 10 to hopefully 30 people. And we'll, you got to feed people. We generally feed people, but try to bring somebody more local in, maybe not a Jim Horman sort of a person. We brought in, I remember the one here a year ago, brought a guy in from A&L Labs. The topic of discussion, the idea behind it was, how to interpret soil. So we'll bring somebody in like that and have a discussion.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Blaine. Dan and Steve, what about you? What types of things have you been doing at your meetings?
Go ahead, Steve. You got on mute first.
I can unmute.
How's that? Can you hear me?
There you go.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah, we're new at this too. So, no, we just we're trying to do it about a little over a year. I guess we've had one last with the group. It's just we had meetings set up for instruction on. I had a company I work with. They come in and talked about soil health, biology, how cycling of nutrients works, all related to conservation and soil health. But actually, Dan and I just held a meeting, kind of, I don't know if we're supposed to say that, just this Tuesday at Dan's place, and had an excellent turnout for, we had a wide range of people involved. Oh, I thought it went pretty good, and I know Dan and I really discussed it. To feed people, I don't know, the interest seems to change. Maybe you get a few different growers each time. I think they're still trying to figure out what Dan and I are talking, what we're doing too. So you can add to that, Dan, if you want.
I guess what we try and do is let the farmers that attend kind of lead the meeting. Steve and I are there to answer questions, as far as what works and what doesn't work. They're just searching for answers. We'll try and maybe have more of an expert in the field. This last meeting, we had a equipment person invited to talk about how to apply cover crops, equipment that's available. We're not trying to promote sales of this stuff, but we're just trying to get some experts in the field, so to speak.
All right, great. So Dan, about how much time a month do you estimate that you spend on, planning and attending different meetings and events for your group?
Steve and I kind of share that responsibility. So that works out well. We're both very, very busy throughout the year. If we can, and it also kind of helps with Ben Workham from Nature's Conservancy. We basically decide on a date, and Ben helps us facilitate it, whether it's through mailers or emails, and because that's kind of what he does. And Steve and I are, I said we're busy with our farm operations, and Ben's efficient with that aspect, so we let him handle that part, and just kind of a distribution of jobs. So time involved, I would say, I guess I don't know how to represent it, whether it's time per month or time per year, or
Would you be able to give an estimate of a time per month?
a few hours. It's not significant, which is good. That you're not tied down or bogged down with uh, a lot of work into this.
Great.
Would you concur, Steve?
Yeah, I would say a few months. It's just something, mainly talking with, if you want to get a speaker lined up or something, making sure. That was been kind of March. So reschedule and get people involved at the right time. Yeah, it's not a big commitment. It's a good thing, like Dan says, Ben has been a big help with the email and handling the invites and such as that. So the thing is, we don't have a lot of funding to work with, so that might be a good thing, because the people that are coming, we just had water and cookies and fruit for them last time. They come because they want to learn something. So, a lot of meetings where they put on agronomy stuff, they would give you a big dinner or whatever it is. So generally, I think it might be a good thing. It's okay, I guess, to do a dinner or something, but the people want to be there because they want to either learn or interact with other farmers. So.
Perfect. So Blaine, how much time in a month do you think that you dedicate to your farmer-led group?
Well, we have at least the core group. We meet once a month. Been Zooming all of them, of course, recently. So, but I think Steve locks off an hour and a half. First thing in the morning, we will meet. So I got that hour and a half tied up. Depends on if we've got an event coming up or something, get a little bit more. But I mean, month in and month out, a couple hours is all. Nothing major time-wise commitment.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Blaine. And so for our final question of today, well, planned questions, we'll get to some, I think we have some questions coming in from the audience, but Dan, Steve, I'll have you take this one first. Do you have any advice you would like to share for groups getting started in the Saginaw watershed?
Go ahead, Dan, you start.
I guess that's a hard thing to answer. As far as I guess it takes a passion for conservation. You have to find people that are interested and want to take that change.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's one of the things, like working with Ben and the Nature's Conservancy. They've got a contact list of people that are conservation minded. So just working with Ben and getting network established, and then setting meetings up through him, I guess was the biggest thing as far as us getting started. Steve and I had an idea, and we kind of brought Ben in with it, and let him kind of run with it, and I think it's been working out well. Steve, what do you?
Did we lose Steve? Well, in the meantime, if we need to, we can ask that for Blaine.
Yep. So Blaine, same question to you. What advice would you like to share for these groups just starting out?
Hang on, he's muted. Hey, Blaine, can you unmute yourself?
I thought I did. Have you got me now?
Yep, you're
Yes.
good now. Thank you.
Okay. I think somehow you have to get the word out. I mean, these issues that we're facing they're not going to go away. They're just going to get worse, in my opinion. So you need to somehow encourage people to get involved with these sort of things. How you do that for sure, that's the challenge. It's a challenge that's been out there for a long time. But you need to keep trying. Advice on how to do that, I don't think I've got any.
I'm back. I lost a little bit. I'm back. Hello.
Hi, Steve. Welcome back.
Yeah, we're back here. I don't know where Dan left off, but I think the main thing I would look at is you have to have a positive attitude. The leaders do. Even speakers you come in, make sure that that's their passion or behind it. And you're always going to get the few growers, and I think we noticed that at our last meeting that are maybe can you all hear me yet? So
Sorry, Steve, we can hear you.
okay, it's going in and out a little bit. That you got to have the people there with a positive attitude, not somebody there proving that maybe that may not work or whatnot. So, but that's a big plus, I think, if you got the right attitude.
Yeah, I think both of you had great advice, and we really appreciate you taking the time to hop on the Zoom today and chat with folks. So we did have one question that came in for Blaine. You mentioned attendance tends to fall over time at your meetings. Do you think it's because the purpose of the group has a limited lifespan, or do you think there is a barrier or barriers to getting more farmers involved to spread the message?
I didn't catch all that. You broke up a little bit. Could you give me the highlights of that question again?
Yeah. So you mentioned during one of your questions that attendance tends to fall over time at your meetings. Do you think it's because of the purpose of the group has a limited lifespan, or there's barriers to getting more farmers involved to spread the message?
I think it's more barriers involved to spread the message. The issue is there, like I said earlier, going to get worse if anything. It's hard to continually put on meetings, put on field days, and come up with new subject matter to keep people's interest. It's a challenge. That's all there is to it. I didn't mention we do piggyback a little bit. Some of you have been down here, Center for Excellence, which takes place part of it is here at our farm. So we try to get involved, get the group involved with that a little bit too. But it's just a challenge to try to keep coming up with subjects to keep people interested.
Yeah, definitely understandable. I definitely know I enjoyed attending Center for Excellence last year. Connor, looks like we had another question come in. Do you want to ask that one?
Yeah, sure. So this question was to the group of farmers here. How reluctant have other producers been to share strategies and approaches in terms of nutrient management?
Well, unless you have got a system that's giving you 250 bushels of corn and are afraid to share that with people, most of the people that we have been involved with, most of the farmers are willing to share. Nobody's got anything top secret. That if they do, they're just kind of buffaloing the rest of us and not telling us the bottom line, I guess. But
Dan and Steve, I can repeat the question and see if you guys have anything to add. The question was, how reluctant have other producers been to share strategies and approaches in terms of nutrient management?
I don't think we've had any real issues with problems with nutrient management. I think everybody, in theory, wants to not put on any more than they need or excess just because of cost. But there's always that fear, I guess, that if they do cut back, and again, that's what I'm going back to, maybe some local people they've worked with for 10, 15 years that they trust. There's a little bit of the, if you don't put anything on, you'll run out of it and your soil can't reply it. You don't want to go down that road. So I guess the fear factor of leadership out there is probably maybe a little bit of a concern that, hey, I've done this to my farm. I just don't want to lose a bunch of nutrients or, deplete it. There's some education that needs to be done there. So I guess that would be the one obstacle, or maybe farmers don't want to share all that information, or they're just concerned that they don't want to deplete their land.
I guess one of the things that I've seen is that there's been a lot of funding thrown at conservation, whether it's getting guys to manage nutrients or cover cropping. And guys take this funding and, well, how do I implement it? Cover crops, are they there? Are they just looking to get those dollars and throw a very inexpensive cover crop out there with no real intentions of change? Or are they actually looking to make changes and using those dollars to make an effort to change? So I guess that's another reason for wanting to share information.
Definitely. Connor, I don't think we have any more questions. Do you want to wrap us up for today?
I am just going to leave everyone with this slide showing the ways that you can get in contact with us if you are interested. And thank you all so much for being here. We really appreciate your time this morning and waking up early and answering some questions for us. So I hope that we have lots of farmers that are interested in getting involved and get lots of emails coming in soon. So thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
I have ended the live stream.